In Lagos, every street has a story. Some stories are loud, full of laughter and music. But some are quiet, hidden behind old doors and flickering lights. And those are the stories that refuse to die. It was raining again when Tobi arrived at his new apartment flat 9B on Ogunlana Drive, Surulere. The rain poured like someone had opened the sky. The gutters overflowed, and the smell of wet dust and diesel filled the air. He dragged his small bag up the narrow stairs. The walls were damp. The corridor light flickered weakly, buzzing like a dying insect. At the top of the stairs stood a round woman in a scarf and slippers. She smiled when she saw him. "Aha, you must be Mr. Tobi. I'm the caretaker, Mama Grace." Tobi smiled back politely. "Yes, Ma, good evening. Welcome. Flat 9B is upstairs. Quiet place. No trouble. You'll like it here." Her tone was friendly, but her eyes seemed to hide something. As she handed him the key, she added softly, "Just don't open your door at night." Tobi frowned. "Ma." But she had already turned away, humming to herself as she walked down the stairs. Inside, the room was small but neat. One window, one bed, and the faint smell of fresh paint. Tobi smiled. After all the stress of searching for a job and sleeping on friends' couches, this felt like a new beginning. He unpacked, cleaned, and played music on his phone, old hip-hop tunes that reminded him of school days. By midnight, the power went out. The city was silent except for rain. He lay on the bed, listening. Then came the sound. Thump, thump, thump. Footsteps. He opened his eyes. The sound was coming from above. But there was no apartment upstairs, only the roof. He sat up slowly. Thump, drag, thump. He swallowed hard. Maybe it was a rat. Or the wind. He tried to ignore it. Then 3 soft knocks. Tap, tap, tap. At his door. Tobi sat still, staring. His throat was dry. He whispered, "Who's there?" Silence. Then a soft, female voice trembling said, "Please open. I'm cold." He froze. His body refused to move. The voice came again, closer this time. "Please, this is my room." He stood up suddenly, heart racing, and peered through the keyhole. Nothing. The knocking stopped. The next morning, Tobi found Mama Grace downstairs washing clothes. "Mama, sorry to disturb you," he said carefully. "Someone was knocking on my door last night." She didn't look up. "What time?" "About 2 a.m. She pressed her lips together. "Maybe a drunk person. Don't worry yourself. But I also heard footsteps on the roof." She forced a laugh. "Ah, Lagos rats. They sound like human beings sometimes." Tobi smiled faintly, though his stomach felt tight. As he turned to leave, Mama Grace called after him. "If you hear anything again, my son, just pray." That's all. Days passed. Tobi tried to focus on work and ignore the strange feeling that followed him around the flat. But every night, he found himself listening, waiting for the sound to return. And it did. Always around the same time. Just after 2 in the morning. Thump, thump, drag. Then the faint sound of breathing. One night, he gathered courage and opened the door, quickly, without thinking. Nothing. Only darkness and rain. When he closed the door again, the air inside felt heavier. Almost like someone else was standing there with him. That weekend, Tobi met one of his neighbors, an elderly man named Mr. Okon. The man lived in 9A, just beside him. They talked as they fixed a leaking tap in the corridor. "Young man," said Mr. Okon, "how's your room?" "It's fine, sir," Tobi replied. "Except for some strange sounds." The old man gave a long sigh. "Ah, you're in that flat." "That flat?" "Yes. The one the nurse used to stay in. Her name was Chioma. She was a kind girl, worked at the hospital. Always polite. But," he stopped, looking around to make sure no one was listening. "One night, she didn't wake up. They said it was heart trouble." Tobi swallowed. "She died inside the flat?" Mr. Okon nodded slowly. "Yes. Right there." The landlord cleaned up the room and rented it again quickly. But people said they still heard her. Footsteps. Knocking. Humming. Sometimes the dead stay where they died. Tobi forced a weak laugh. Maybe they just imagined things. The man smiled sadly. "Maybe. But not everything can be explained, my son." That night, the power went off again. Tobi lit a candle and sat by the mirror, scrolling on his phone. Then he saw it, something moved behind him. A faint shadow standing still. He turned sharply. Nothing. When he looked back at the mirror, it was fogged up, and slowly, a handprint appeared from inside the glass. His breath caught. He stepped back, knocking over the candle. The flame danced on the floor, shadows stretching across the walls. Then came the humming. A woman's voice, soft, broken, but beautiful. She was singing Sweet Mother. Tobi whispered a prayer, but the voice only grew louder. Then stopped, and the room went completely still. At exactly 2 a.m, the knocking came again. Tap, tap, tap. He stared at the door, his heart pounding. "Who's there?" The voice answered, calm but sad. "Please, I need to come inside." He shook his head slowly. "No, no, you can't." The door handle turned. "Why did you take my room?" His flashlight slipped from his hand. Cold air swept in. And there, standing in the doorway, was a woman. She wore a white nurse's uniform, soaked with rain. Water dripped from her hair to the floor. Her eyes were dark, endless. "They didn't pray for me," she said softly. "I can't rest." Tobi's legs trembled. "What do you want?" "Finish the prayer." Lightning flashed, and she vanished. The floor was wet where she had stood. The next day, Tobi couldn't work. His mind replayed her voice again and again. He went to St. Anthony's Church, a few streets away. He found an old priest named Father Samuel. "Father," he said, trembling, "something is in my room." The priest listened quietly. When Tobi finished, the man nodded slowly. "That woman's soul is trapped," he said. "She died suddenly, without prayer. That's why she wanders. She's not evil. She's lost." He gave Tobi a candle and a bottle of holy water. "Light this tonight. Say a prayer for her. Call her by name. Let her go." That night, Tobi turned off the lights. He placed the candle near the door and sprinkled holy water on the floor. He closed his eyes and began to pray. "Chioma, may your soul rest in peace. May your spirit find light." The candle flickered wildly, then steadied. The air grew still. A soft breeze brushed past his face. And then, from the corner of the room, came a whisper. "Thank you." The flame glowed brighter, then slowly dimmed. Tobi felt something lift, like a heavy curtain pulled away from his chest. For the first time, the air felt warm. He smiled faintly. "Rest well." Months passed. Tobi got a better job in Abuja. He packed his things, cleaned the flat, and went downstairs to return the keys. Mama Grace smiled when she saw him. "You're leaving already?" "Yes, Ma. I got work." "You like the place?" He nodded slowly. "It's peaceful now." "Good," she said. "Another person has already taken 9B. A nurse again." He paused. "A nurse?" She laughed softly. "Yes, a nurse." "Why? You look surprised." He smiled faintly. "No reason." He turned to leave. The rain had started again, falling gently on the rusted roofs. As he reached the gate, thunder rolled in the distance. And from upstairs came a single, soft knock. Tap. He stopped, staring up for a moment, then whispered, "Rest well, Chioma," and walked away into the rain. In Africa, the living fear the dead. But sometimes the dead are not angry, only forgotten. All they want is a prayer,